Good morning, and what a morning it is. Monday the 18th of May, what's that, that's 18, 19, 20, 21, 3 days for my birthday. I don't catch a fish on my birthday, I don't care, because what I've got in that sack there is gorgeous. It's a 17-pound, 8-ounce mirror from the big new lake. If you watched the last video, remember what I said at the end? Mate, it's not the big fish, I don't think. Well, it can't be at 17.8. I know people sometimes can exaggerate stories, but I don't care. It's an absolute peach of a mirror, and I mean peach. Especially for Australian standards, mate, top notch. Mate, I'm so chuffed. After last night, got here about 4:30. No, got here at 4:30. Had about an hour and a half. Hang on, 4:30, 5:30. Yeah, about an hour and a half to set up before dark. Obviously, set the boat up, fill it up, row down here, get in here, dosh, bosh, bosh. But anyway, ended up getting all rods out in the pitch black, and I didn't really want to use a torch and spook anything that might have been in the area, but I had to use it on 2 of the spots, but I had it on a low setting, and rode back here, and at 9:30 far margin rod kicked off, left down rod, played the fish all the way to the net. It got tangled in the lilies right underneath me, swam behind me, so tried to tug through, and then in front behind me is some rocks, and he's grated on the rock and ping, swam behind me and around me past the net on the left hand side and then swam off. Fucking hell. Mate, that's what you call luck. I didn't even shake my head. I just went, yeah, fair enough. That happens. Mate. Oh, this lake throws ups and wonders, I tell you. Anyway, got the rod back out. No action through the night. And this morning, I was fast asleep, dreaming about fishing tackle. I won't tell you who's in the dream because you won't believe me. And then off she went, and it was a drop back, picked up, got the waders on, jumped in, struck into it, thought, right, here we go. It kited right, and then I sort of, guided it to my left, because although I'm a right-hander, I'm a left-handed lander with a landing net, and in she went. She was right close to the lily, so I was panicking again, thinking, oh mate, please no. But nah, successfully in the net, and I just couldn't believe it when I looked in there. It was a mirror, mate. Perfect start to the session. I've completely, after all my thinking and all that lot, I've decided that I'm going to just focus on one pre-baited spot. Or should I say, I'm just going to focus on pre-baiting one spot. Or sort of one zone, an area where I know that there's bait that's gone in over time, and it is the stopgap or the go-to swim. So if I rock up and I've got the time, I can row around and see if I can spot fish and other zones that I've fished, and then I can maybe jump in there, and then, if nothing happens, move to the pre-baited spot as and when. But obviously, like for instance last night, if I rock up, I've not got any time to go wandering around and whatever. I can just come to the pre-baited spot, put a single hook bait on there, or a small bag, or just a very, very light scattering of bait. What I've also done, or I'm doing now, is that because of my schedule's changed, I just don't have as much time as I used to be able to come here pre-bait, have a road around, check this out, fish as much. So the plan is, at the end of every session, I put in a shitload of bait, basically. So I bring the bait I'm going to fish with, and I have a bucket full of bait that will go in at the end of every session. And then that therefore means, so at the end of that session, there's a load of bait in there. If I can get up one more time, so that would be, let's say I'll leave on a Monday, if I can get back up on a Wednesday or a Thursday, put some bait in the spots, and then come back and fish on the Sunday again. So that's the plan. So obviously it's worked. I'm confident it's worked, because came in last night, bait with a small bag on the spot, within a couple of hours, bosh, fish. This morning, same spot, same again, bosh, fish. I'm not complaining there. No more running around baiting up too many spots, because it's a big lake, no one fishes it, you know what I mean? I've got no one to sort of compare with, so, you know, I might as well just create a zone that they can know there's feed there, and they can go there. And I'm happy with it. It's kind of worked. I mean, what did I say? 18th of May, so I think the last video was the 18th of April, so there you go, it's a month. And so after that video is when I decided to do that process. So yeah, so the right hand rod, the lone right hand rod, that's in a snag where on my rowing I've seen a whacker, and I'm confident it is up there, well over 30. I'll leave it at that. Plus he's had other fish hovering around him. There's a really interesting thing about that swim, so I'm not going to take up too much time trying to explain it. I'll maybe tell you another day. I can actually probably get the camera over there and show you it one day. Middle rod, that's a fallen tree. Incidentally, I'm on a point. Right, I'm on a point which is just down from the swim where I fished when I did the hard week's work. But because I'm at this point, I can actually get to another swim that just gives me an added bonus. Okay, middle rod out there, fallen tree. I'm on the tip of that fallen tree, which effectively the tip is at the edge of a ledge. And my theory is where that fallen tree, or the tip of that fallen tree, where all the foliage was over the time when the foliage has dropped down to the base of that ledge, potentially silt patch. And then to the left in that hole in that bay, which you've seen me fish before, is where I've seen the beasts, the absolute beasts. And basically that goes off, tips off into a bay which has almost got like boom gate protection from about 3 fallen trees that come from the left and the right of the point, that protects whatever goes into that bay, which is fine. What I've done is pre-baited the entrance, step back by about 20 foot, so when they come out or when they go in, there's food there for them. So that's the deal, that's the plan. Oh yeah, and then there's a further spot to the left which is a margin. If you can imagine a straight line, so draw a line on a page diagonally and then do a kink in the line. You can do a kink as deep as you like. Let's say this kink's about 6 foot. So it's like a bowler hat upside down. I've always wondered why you get a kink like that, right? If there's obvious sign of a fallen tree over time that's fallen and it's not allowed anything to grow, fair enough. But to me, there's got to be a reason why there's a kink in a straight line. And my theory is it's where the fish would naturally feed. Now, if a tree protrudes over the bank and then creates some kind of protection, like a shadow, then in theory, any bugs that fall off or the protection itself. Just going to wait, here comes a canoe. He's going to think I'm talking to myself. I'll let him pass. Where was I? Yeah, kink in the straight line. So my theory is it's where the fish are feeding. They've created that clear line, like you would obviously fill your lead down for a hole in the weed. Same thing. I'm fortunate enough to have the boat and row around and see these things, and that to me is a done deal. When I caught the 38 from the swim, I called the big fish hangout. It's exactly the same thing. Kink in the reeds. Obviously there's a fallen tree, that's fine, but the fallen trees come at an angle, but the hole in the lilies is to the other side of it, so there's no excuse why, you know, it's understandable. Well, to me it's understandable as to what that potentially means. It's a feeding spot, and I thought I'd try my luck on that one. So what I've done is I've just sprinkled a little bit of bait away from a heavily baited area, so it's in a patrol route, so therefore, you know, if they're all munching away on the big spot, then there's a little spot that someone can go and have a nice little quiet feed. So they're the spots that I've got on the go. So at any time I can move between the four from this point, which is all within a very close area of feeding, etc, 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 etc. A stunning mirror. Look at that. $17.8 of gorgeous mirror. Absolute stunner. Let's do the other side. Scale pattern is outstanding. Unbelievable. This thing is going to grow to be a beauty. Not that it isn't already, but look at that. She's gorgeous. Absolute stunner. Absolute stunner. Absolute stunner. It's amazing scale pattern. It's just fantastic. There she is, look. There she goes. Here's what I'm using, and will be pre-baiting right throughout autumn winter with the exception of one missing thing, only because I broke the missus mixer, which I've been chopping the bread up on the weekend, literally as I was getting ready to make me bait, and I gutted because it's going to cost me about $700 to bloody replace it. Anyway, in the bucket we have, I've got a kilo there of frozen sweet corn, soapies, birdseed, yellow, pineapple, chopped boilies, and also soapies, spicy fish meal, red ones, chopped, whole tigers and loads of crushed tigers, and obviously there would have been blended bread in there, hemp seed oil, and loads of salt. So the reason I put loads of salt in is obviously because I didn't have the bread, and obviously I'm putting that in a PVA bag, so loads of salt stops the bag from melting. They're very juicy, unbelievably juicy. I don't know if that's something to consider with your sweet corn, but if you buy a kilo bag of frozen, the juice is unbelievable. Yeah, that's what I'm using. So, I wanted something soft and easily digestible for the winter, and also with the tigers, it's just to match what's on the hook bait. And obviously I'm not putting loads in there, but we all know I know they love tigers here, because that's what all my fish have been caught on, with the exception of another fish, which is another story, another day. Anyway, that's what I'm using. Alright, here's a look at the rig that I've been using and basically use all the time, with the exception of a combi rig, and it is a hinge stiff rig, made conventionally, however you want to make it, hinge stiff rig, basically. For me, that's how I make it. It's pure and simply seen there in front of you. And what I do is I obviously use, most of the time, if I'm not using a pop-up at the bottom, I'm just using a couple of cork drilled tigers and a cork stick fed through the middle. On this occasion I'm using a Make It Cluster as a topper, whatever you want to call it, and the way that it sits is how you see it in front of you. So the blade of glass is the lake bed, and it sits flat. So if you can imagine, I'll show you actually, it just sits with the hook point just skimming the surface of the of the bottom. I know what my bottom's like in this lake. It's sand, and I know where all the clear spots are. It's clear most of the spaces anyway. I fish anyway, so all the confidence. Yeah, I use a slightly bigger. I use a small, not mini, O-ring, the Drennan ones. And what that does is, because it's slightly oversized, the tiger nuts swivel left to right, to and fro in the current, which to me looks like a bug, because, you know, tigers aren't that big really. What, I don't know, 8 mil, 10 mil, whatever it is. And the way that they sort of, because they're sort of a solid, heavy thing, and obviously with that cork in the middle, they sway like a bug, I reckon. And this is how I tie the bag on. So I double bag them, and on the second bag that I tie on, if that makes sense, when I slide it through the tube again, I keep the knot end a bit longer, so I can tie that to the big end of the flexi ring swivel, and then I just nick the hook in the side of the bag, obviously not into a sweet corn. All right, and it basically is an hinge stiff rig that's meant to sit flat with the hook point just raised off the bottom. And at any one time I want to get that up, I'll just put a pop-up on the bottom, and I can get it set up just a bit more. But if I want to fish the bottom per se, then I can fish it like this. Hello, it's Tuesday and I'm still here. It's 19th of May. It's about 9:30. I just lost one, left hand rod, in the bowler hat bit I told you about, the kink in the straight line in the lilies. So obviously I'm in the margin, so it basically dropped back and ran into open water. Playing it at the net, dipped, flipped its head, hook came out. I'm just over these hook pulls, mate. I'm really am over them. Drag set, I mean, I don't know what more I can do. You know, size 2, atomic chodder, hand sharpened. The biggest issue is these lilies. I've got to wade right out, I'm on the edge, and, you know, I'm trying to stop them dipping into the lilies to get caught up and then cause me all kinds of havoc. I think I'm going to have to get a weed rake and clear the lilies right in front of me. It's going to be the only solution. Then I can give it more line on the drag to freely just do what it wants to do, rather than panic about it getting caught in the lilies. Gutted. It was well over. It was a good fish, I can tell you that now. I'm not going to say what it was. A good fish. Common. Nice bow waves as we're playing. Oh, mate, just over these hook pulls, man. What am I doing wrong? I have to say though, in all my fishing, I don't think I've lost so many fish from a lake. It's just unheard of. I've just been doing the maths. I reckon for every fish landed during a session, I'll lose at least one. So this session I've landed 1 and lost 2. Last couple of videos, last couple of sessions, landed 1, lost 2. And the common denominator has been the lilies. And I don't think I've ever fished a lake which has been completely at the margins surrounded in lilies. And all the best swims, margins are surrounded in lilies. So I think a reed rake is called for, big time. Without giving too much away for any of the other anglers to come in and sort of, you know, then hack away at the sort of foliage that I've got protecting and keeping the swim concealed, if you know what I mean, which has actually happened up one of the swims up there. But it's not a carp angler, it's a spinning angler, so he obviously can, you know, cast and stuff. Oh mate, it's a massive jigsaw, isn't it? Just when you think you've got it nailed, you know, you're forever learning. You're learning on the job, you know. It's not easy, man. Sorry, it's not meant to be easy. You know, if you could rock up to a swim and it's beautifully manicured and, you know, you haven't got any obstructions, you don't want a lake like that. No, you want to go to a lake where you fish, you learn your watercraft, your skills, your techniques, your adjusting. You know what I mean? That's what you want. Well, that's what I want. That's what that's why I'm doing my nut on this bloody lake and not fishing anywhere else. Here comes the rain. Just got off the blower, or text Nobby, and Dutch John's got a reed rake, so I'm going to get that, come up here on my next time I can get up to put some bait in, and I'm going to weed rake this swim, because it's causing me problems. It's a fine line between wading right out and going out too far, and having the fish go into the lilies, which are quite thick lilies, if you know what I mean. The stems are quite thick, and yeah, I got braid, da-dee-da-dee-da, but now, anyway, no. Got to sort that out. It's just pieces in the jigsaw, you know what I mean? pieces in the jigsaw. Yesterday was a corker of a day actually. It's supposed to be winter, autumn, but what was it, 19 degrees, Jesus, 17 today. You know, global warming and all that.